Sponsored by ACCA, Think Ahead.
Supported by
Himalayan White House International College, Putali Sadak, Kathmandu.
Ridge College of Engineering and Management, Balkumari, Lalitpur. In collaboration with EDU Sanjab.
नमस्कार दर्शक वृन्द, जनता टेलिभिजन र रेडियो जनता 89.1 को शिक्षा सम्बन्धी कार्यक्रम शिक्षाका कुरामा म नारायण आचार्य यहाँहरूलाई हार्दिक स्वागत गर्न चाहन्छु। दर्शक वृन्द, आजको एपिसोडमा हामीले एकजना विदेशी पाहुनालाई आमन्त्रण गरेका छौँ। उहाँ हुनुहुन्छ मिस्टर पल क्लिव्स MBE, मेम्बर अफ ब्रिटिस अम्पायर। आज हामीले ब्रिटिस एजुकेसन सिस्टम, नेपाली एजुकेसन सिस्टम र खास गरी मिस्टर पलको सन्दर्भमा कुरा गर्दाखेरिमा उहाँ द ब्रिटिस कलेज थापाथली काठमाडौँमा छ र यसको उहाँ एडभाइजर पनि हुनुहुन्छ र मिस्टर पलले इटन कलेज, बेलायतको इटन कलेजमा लामो समय उहाँ पढाउनु भयो। त्यहाँको हेड टिचर पनि हुनुहुन्थ्यो र त्यसै गरी उहाँ को संलग्नता विभिन्न क्षेत्रमा छ। उहाँ ग्रुप CEO हुनुहुन्छ ब्रिटिस ग्रामर स्कुल्सको। त्यसै गरी भाइस चेयरपर्सन डाइरेक्टर हुनुहुन्छ ब्रिटिस एजुकेसन बोर्डको। मिस्टर पल क्लिव्स आज हाम्रो जनता टेलिभिजनको शिक्षाका कुरामा हुनुहुन्छ। हामीले शिक्षाकै सेरोफेरोमा रहेर उहाँसँग कुराकानी गर्नेछौँ। मिस्टर पल, यु आर मोस्ट वेलकम टु शिक्षाका कुरा एट जनता टेलिभिजन।
Thank you very much indeed. It's a great pleasure to be here.
How are you feeling in Nepal?
I love it. And for one reason is because of the friendliness of the people and the very warm reception I get everywhere I go. The other thing I love about it is the weather. I mean, you could not have nicer weather than this. It's cool, it's sunny, it's dry, it's not windy. So for me as an Englishman, this is absolutely perfect weather. I love it.
You are feeling comfortable?
I'm very comfortable, thank you. Yeah, I am.
Okay, very nice. And Mr. Paul, you have got a long experience in the field of education. You are an academician and you have worked in Eton College, where our late Prince Dipendra also studied. Would you please share some of the experiences with Prince Dipendra?
Yes, I'm very happy to do so. I remember Crown Prince Dipendra very well. He was a delightful, charming person. He worked hard. He was very enthusiastic about geography. I'm a geography teacher.
Oh, nice.
I was teaching Crown Prince Dipendra geography at A level, and he was always passionate about geography. When he left Eton, he came back to Nepal and he read geography here, and he was also doing a master's in geography as well. So he was a huge enthusiast about geography. So I do remember him clearly, and as I say, I think he was well known in the school for his very good sense of humour, and he was always very popular among the other boys.
And you do remember all his activities as a teacher?
I do, yeah. I mean, because in A level we had fairly small classes, and perhaps it would be about 15 boys in one class. So he was one of those 15 boys. So you got to know them very well. I remember his A level project because every boy had to do an A level project. His project was on the perception of the earthquake hazard in Nepal. And he was able to, I don't suppose it was entirely his own work, but he was able to get interviews with hundreds and hundreds of people to find out what their perception was of the earthquake hazard. And he wrote a very good dissertation, a very good project about the perception of earthquake hazard in Nepal. So that was one thing that stands out in my mind about him.
Oh, he was a good student.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
And how long did you serve in Eton College?
I was there for 14 years in total.
14 years.
Yeah, and the last few years I was the head of the geography department. So I was very lucky actually, because I was at Manchester University and then I went to Cambridge University. And while I was at Cambridge, I was sent to Eton to do my teaching practice. So actually that was one term spent teaching at Eton. And I was very lucky because there was a vacancy in the geography department. So as they had got to know me and I got to know them, they said, well, look, in the following September, would you like to come back? And so I did. So I was extremely lucky in that respect to have done my teaching practice there, and then gone back to Cambridge for one term, and then following September started teaching full-time at Eton. Yeah.
Would you please share some of your experiences to our viewers? Why Eton College used to be chosen by many citizens within the country, UK and abroad?
Well, Eton is a very old school. It's not the oldest school in England. That's Winchester College, but Eton was founded in 1440. So even while I was there, it celebrated its 550th anniversary. So it's very old, and it was not always the most academic of schools, although several of the recent headmasters have really improved the quality of teaching, and the boys have to pass an examination, common entrance examination, in order to get there. So it has become more academic. But I think what Eton is probably most famous for, or should be recognised for, is everything apart from the education. So there are so many activities going on, and that would include a very wide range of sports. English public schools really focus very much on team sports, whether it's football or rugby or cricket. Team sports are very, very important, because with team sports you have cooperation between the team members, but then you have one team versus another team. So it's also highly competitive, and one school versus another school. So from sports, from arts, drama, all these activities that take place at Eton. Fantastic music department, drama. There are so many boys that I taught at Eton who have gone on to make careers, very successful careers in drama, in film and so on. So I think that all these things, besides just academic, clearly academic is the number one priority, but all the other activities are very important, and as a result it has drawn students from all over the world, including, as we know, from Nepal. And Crown Prince Dipendra and his father Birendra was also at Eton, and we've had.
Did you teach late King Birendra?
No. I'm not that old.
But you did know he was one of the students.
He was before I got there. He was there. Yes.
And Mr. Paul,
yeah.
It's very interesting. Why did you choose teaching profession?
Well, that's a very good question. Why did I choose it? There is a sense, I suppose, that when I was at university, we were very lucky, my generation, because we got a grant. We didn't have to pay. We didn't have to pay tuition fees, and the government gave us a grant. So we could study completely free, and we had money in our pocket. And so to some extent, we wanted to prolong our stay at university. And after your undergraduate degree of 3 years, quite a few people who weren't quite sure what they were going to do next stayed on to do a postgraduate certificate in education, because you would get a grant for that as well. And so that was part of the reason, was just to prolong my stay at university. But also, I think, as a geographer, because I read geography as an undergraduate, teaching was one of the obvious careers to go into. And I have to say, I'm very glad that I made teaching my profession, made it my career.
You don't have any regression?
I have no regrets at all, no. None at all.
You are proud of your profession?
I am indeed, yes.
Very encouraging statement.
Thank you, yeah.
And teaching profession, how it is considered in UK society? UK.
I would say that the teaching profession is probably not as highly recognised in the UK as it is in other countries. My impression is that in Nepal, for example, that teachers are have a higher status in society than perhaps they do have in the United Kingdom. I actually live in Vietnam, and I've lived there for many years, and certainly teachers are very highly regarded in society. They may not be paid much, but they have great status within society. They are looked up to. Yeah, I mean, teachers are always respected, as indeed they deserve to be, but perhaps their status in society is not quite as great as it is in some other countries.
Government has also given value to some extent.
Well, yes, of course, it does. I mean, I think teachers very often think that they're overworked and underpaid, and I'm sure many professions feel the same way. But the government recognises the importance of education, and it devotes a lot of money to education, both for building new schools and for training teachers and for salaries and so on. So I think, yeah, the British government is highly committed to education, not only in the UK, but they also very keen to develop British qualifications in overseas countries, such as here in Nepal.
Actually, the British education system, whether we talk about school education system or university education system, it is considered as the best in the world. Would you please share some of the realistic reasons?
Well, I'm delighted to hear you say that, and it's flattering to think that it would be among the best in the world. I know that we have I suppose education is quite an open system. We encourage people to inquire. We have what's perhaps known as Socratic tradition, is questioning. Teachers are not expected to know all the answers. Teachers should encourage their students to ask questions and to challenge. I think challenge is important. You know, don't believe everything you're told, even if it comes from the teacher, because the teacher may be challenging you. He may not, himself may not know everything. So I think that the attitude of an inquiring mind is very important, and I would like to think that sort of ethos underlies a lot of the British educational system. And yeah, this openness, this questioning, this freedom to think, and sometimes think the unthinkable, because what perhaps in Galileo's time was unthinkable, we now know to be scientific fact. So I think it's important to have an openness and an inquiringness in education, and so perhaps it's that really underlies all that's good about British education system.
As you have a long experience of teaching, what do you expect from a good teacher?
Enthusiasm. As a head of department, I had to recruit a number of teachers into my department, and what we were looking for would be enthusiasm. Is this person going to enthuse his pupils? Because if you can generate enthusiasm and love of your subject, those students are going to want to study. They're not just going to do what you tell them to do, they're going to want to study. And if you can kindle that enthusiasm within your students, then they will go on to do the best that they can. You can't force anyone to do anything, but if you can stimulate them, if you can encourage them by the love of your subject that you can convey to them, then I would say that would be the single most important thing.
A 21 years of proven academic success where we walk together for achieving your career. The platform where dream turns into reality. The place where inner strength are discovered. Admission open for BBA, BHM, BE Civil, BTech in Biotechnology, MBA, EMBA. Grab the opportunity of diverse scholarship. For admission and inquiry, visit Himalayan White House International College, Putali Sadak, Kathmandu. Contact 4222-688, 9843-207064, www.whitehousecmt.edu.np.
RITS College of Engineering and Management, Nepal's best engineering and management college, established under the guidance of Himal Education Foundation and Milestone Education Network, affiliated to Pokhara University with the philosophy dedicated to quality education. Announces admission open for BBA, BHM and BE Civil. For details, RITS College of Engineering and Management, Balkumari, Lalitpur. Contact 518-6188, 518-6183. Visit www.ritscollege.edu.np.
You are also a group CEO of British Grammar Schools.
If we start to talk about my work in Nepal, in 2011 I was invited to become one of the board of advisors to the British College here in Kathmandu. And I'm pleased to say that 11 years later I'm still on the board of advisors. The British Education Group under the British College has grown very successfully, and at the moment we are very much focused in Kathmandu. The British College is offering 11 British degrees from 3 British universities, so that has grown in size and stature and quality. But we've decided that it's time to start to move outwards. Rather than just be focused on the metropolitan area, just on the valley, we want to extend the opportunity of a British education to other provinces and other towns. So tomorrow morning I'm flying to Chitwan, we then go to Butwal, and we then go to Pokhara, and we will be opening schools in all of those places. In fact, in 2 of those places, Chitwan and Butwal, we already have schools which I shall go to visit for the first time. So these will come under the British Grammar School title. They will come under that name. A grammar school in England has been a school of high academic quality and tradition, and that's the sort of high academic quality that we would like to bring here to Nepal. We don't want to charge very high fees. We want to charge fees that are affordable, and to give an opportunity to the young people of Nepal to gain a British qualification. Now, obviously, that has to be intertwined with the national curriculum of Nepal, and there are certain things that we will follow from the national curriculum, but where possible, we will add in things like A-level and possibly the primary school qualification from Cambridge.
And through your schools, what sort of education do you want to impart to the students in Nepal?
We would like to impart a rounded education. So in other words, while the academic side is of prime importance, we would also like to offer a wide range of extracurricular activities, as we would at a school in the United Kingdom. And that would include sport, that would include arts and music, that would include giving speeches, public speaking and all those things, to try to encourage and develop leadership, and to develop self-reliance, independence, because I think that those are qualities which are going to stand young people in good stead in the future. Yes, you have an A-level in this, you have an A-level in that, but how valuable is that actually going to be in your day-to-day life? Possibly not very, but if we could develop the sort of the sense of teamwork, cooperation, a competitive edge, all of those things, then I think that they will probably be of greater value in people's day-to-day lives in their futures.
And what about teachers? Are you going to bring the teachers from UK, or you are going to recruit the teachers from Nepal?
As far as possible, we will recruit the teachers from here in Nepal. And one of the things that I have been busy doing over the last 6 months is interviewing Nepalese teachers online, of course, and appointing our first headmasters, our first principals. And I have to say, I'm highly impressed by the calibre of some of the people that we have appointed already. I'm highly impressed by the calibre and the quality of many of the people that I've interviewed, and it's my ambition to draw these people into our school system, because I can see, and I've seen some of them in their schools, and I can see the excellent job that they are doing. Now, it may well be that we will also recruit some people from the United Kingdom as well, perhaps in English teaching.
As visiting faculties, visiting teachers?
They could be visiting, or they could be, you know, it obviously depends on work permits and things like that, but you know, we would like to have a couple as permanent members of staff. That I think would be very, very helpful, and perhaps we would have some, you know, as you say, some people perhaps from a school on a 1 year a 1 year assignment or something like that, because I do think that it would be of great benefit to let's say a teacher at a school in England to come over and spend a year of their time here, and certainly, I mean, I know that this has happened in the past, because one or two of my colleagues, when I was teaching at Eton, came to spend a year in Nepal.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think? Is it affordable to Nepalese parents to admit their children in these types of British model schools?
I think so, yes, because certainly we have 2,000 students in the British College here. They can afford it. We have 200 or 300 students in the British Model College. Mm-hmm. They can afford the fees. Now, okay, that is in Kathmandu, where I suppose it's a wealthier part of the country. So we have to make sure that whether we're in Chitwan or Pokhara, that we set the fees at a level which are affordable by the local people.
Mm-hmm. And what contribution, what sort of service do you want to deliver to the people of Nepal and the country through these educational projects?
We would like to work very closely with the national curriculum of Nepal and add and build upon that, so that when one of our pupils leaves one of our schools, they will be qualified according to the Nepalese curriculum syllabus, and also in addition to that perhaps have some British qualifications as well. They will also, in addition to those academic qualifications, have had the benefit of all the extracurricular activities that we are planning to introduce. And so I would like to see pupils going out from our schools in Nepal as, you know, good citizens of the world, with a good moral compass. They know what they should be doing, they know what they shouldn't be doing, and with a very high appreciation of nature, and a high respect for their fellow people.
Mm-hmm. And in your opinion, what is a school and what sort of facilities does a school or should a school provide to the students in this 21st century?
Yeah. Well, I mean, personally, for me, I think sports facilities are very important. So there has to be a proper football pitch, there should be a swimming pool. So you need all of that. You do need proper science laboratories, you need all the everything for computers and so on. I think a school should be a place where people enjoy going. So I wouldn't want them to be cramped into a small classroom. I would like the classroom should be airy, they should be light, there should be space to move about. The classroom should be flexible, so you can have group work, you can have an examination or a test there. So I think that a school in this day and age, and actually after...
There should be good environment for teaching and learning.
Absolutely, perfect. That's exactly what they should be. And I'm actually, after this interview, going on to meet the architects for one of our schools. And it's very important to make sure that the architects know exactly what it is that we would like the school to look like.
Very good. And you are going to start many schools in different territories of Nepal.
Well, that's
plan
the ambition.
Do you have?
That is the ambition in Chitwan, Pokhara, and Butwal. That's right.
In 3 places.
Three, and Kathmandu itself.
In Kathmandu also. Altogether 4 schools are going to be run by you this year.
Well, not by me personally, but by the group. Yes, exactly.
By the group.
Yeah.
By the group.
Yes.
You means your group.
Yes. The group.
Okay. And you are also the advisor of the British College, Thapathali, Kathmandu. So would you please share some of your experiences with this British College in Kathmandu?
Yeah, well, the British College has been running since 2011, and we started with only 2 or 3 different degree courses. That's now expanded to 11. So the width of the education that we provide there has grown enormously. And there are opportunities now for students at the British College to spend a couple of years studying here in Nepal and perhaps 1 year in the United Kingdom. The great thing about the British College is that students can get a British degree from a British university without needing to leave the country. And that means that it's a fraction of the cost. Whereas previously they would have to fly to the United Kingdom. Overseas students in England get charged 3 or 4 times as much as a British student. So that in itself is an enormous sum of money, plus the cost of travel, plus the cost of visa and so on and so on. So students can get a British degree, an actual British degree from a British university without needing to leave Nepal. And to me, that is a huge benefit. It's a huge bonus to be able to
Nepalese students who are passing out from British College, are they equally competent to the students who are passing out from British College in UK?
Identical, exactly. Because the universities come here, they assess, they monitor, they control the quality of the teaching, and they are the people, the universities are the people who set the examinations, they mark the examinations. So if you get a degree from the British College here, it is absolutely identical to the one that you could have got in the United Kingdom.
And you are investing a huge amount in educational sector. So how much hopeful you are?
Sorry, how much?
Hopeful.
Well, obviously we're hopeful that the investment will pay off. You know, we would like to get the money back, but it's not being done as a money-making operation. It's being done as a service.
It is not only business.
It's not. No, it's not a business. If we wanted to do a business, we would find a small little building. We would cram the students in there. We'd charge them as much as we could. We wouldn't provide any football. We wouldn't provide any sport. We would just take the money from them and they'd pass an exam. That would be it. But that's exactly what we're not doing. And so we are providing a service to the young people and to the country of Nepal. And for instance, let me say, in Chitwan we have the Motherland School. Now that's a community school, and the fees there are very, very low. And indeed, you know, some of the students can go there free of charge. So that's something that we...
You also provide scholarships to the students?
We will provide scholarships. Yesterday I had a meeting with the British Council. The British Council have this project called EDGE, and that's designed to help girls and young women to gain education in three areas: a basic education, basic computer skills, and social skills. And that way, they will become more independent. They will be able to sort of think for themselves, decide for themselves. It's really to empower them, and so they realise that they can control their lives. And that's the sort of project, working with the British Council, that we would like to introduce in certainly in the Motherland School in Chitwan.
Oh, very nice. And as a teacher, long experienced teacher, educationist, what suggestion would you like to impart to the teachers, guardians, parents, or the stakeholders of education? What's your message?
Well, I would simply encourage all of those stakeholders to allow their sons and their daughters, the boys and the girls, to have equal opportunity in education. I think that's important. I would encourage them to work hard at school, but not to work too hard. Young people need time to relax. They need time to, just to sort of forget about things. And certainly it's been my impression that parents sometimes force their children too hard. We see this in China, we see this in Japan, we see this in South Korea. They're pushing their children non-stop, and you've got to have the very best qualifications, the very best grades. To my mind, that's not so important. To my mind, a more rounded education with time to think, time to relax, I think that is important. So don't push your children too hard. Give them credit, because they know
shouldn't be pressurized.
Often they're too pressurized, and I think that's unhealthy.
Okay, Mr. Paul, me myself and Janata Television is very much grateful to you for your time and talk. Nice to meet you. Take care.
Thank you very much.
Have a wonderful time and stay in Nepal.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much.
दर्शकवृन्द, हामीले भर्खरै कुराकानी गर्यौं मिस्टर पल क्लिव्स, मेम्बर अफ ब्रिटिश अम्पायर, एउटा लामो शिक्षा क्षेत्रको अनुभव हासिल गरेको व्यक्तित्व हुनुहुन्छ उहाँ, र द ब्रिटिश कलेज टिबिसीका सल्लाहकार हुनुहुन्छ, अनि उहाँ भाइस चेयरपर्सन डाइरेक्टर ब्रिटिश एजुकेसन बोर्ड भन्ने छ, र ग्रुप सिइओ ब्रिटिश ग्रामर स्कुल्स, र नेपालमा पनि उहाँहरूले ब्रिटिश मोडेलको धेरै स्कुलहरू खोल्न जाँदै हुनुहुन्छ। उहाँहरूलाई सफलताको शुभकामना। दर्शकवृन्द, शिक्षाका कुराको अर्को अङ्कमा अर्को विशेष शैक्षिक व्यक्तित्वका साथ हामी उपस्थित हुनेछौँ। जनता टेलिभिजन हेर्दै गर्नुहोला, जनता रेडियो सुन्दै गर्नुहोला, र जनता टेलिभिजनको शिक्षाका कुरा इडियू सञ्जालको भिडियोजमा गएर पनि यहाँहरूले हेर्न सक्नुहुनेछ। आजको एपिसोडबाट हाम्रो सिङ्गो टिमलाई बिदा दिनुहोस्। हस्त नमस्कार।
Sponsored by ACCA, Think Ahead.
Supported by
Himalayan White House International College, Putali Sadak, Kathmandu.
Ridge College of Engineering and Management, Balkumari, Lalitpur. In collaboration with EDU Sanjal.